I don't think you're ready for what I'm about to say. This place is the best value in Bali. From the gardens, to the service, to the club, to the food, and more, the Hyatt Regency over-delivers, and I'm going to tell you all about it. If you're new here, hi there, I'm Kevin, the Flip Flop Traveler. If I want you to know one thing, it's that the opinions in my videos are honest and my own. If you'd like to know more about the what, how, and why I do what I do, scan the QR code to read more. Have a look around the channel, there are hundreds of flight and hotel reviews to watch. The tour of this Balinese legend starts now. Over the years, I've tried to restrain myself somewhat from speaking in absolutes. I rarely refer to things as the best, unless it's something that I know to be true, in a market that I know really well. For the record, I'm not saying the Hyatt Regency Bali is the best hotel on the island, but what it delivers for what you pay is a balance squarely in your favor. I usually don't talk about hotel pricing, and even less so about hotel points or credit card bonuses and stuff, but hear me out for like 28 seconds because understanding the value is key to experiencing this video. I checked the rates here for the next 11 months. With taxes and fees, it averages $197 per night. I also checked for points redemptions, which averages 7,500 points per night, with multiple months down to 6,500. So, if you got a Chase Sapphire Preferred sign-up bonus of 60,000 points, you could stay here for 9 nights for $0 cash out of pocket and get 3.3 cents per point, which is around 50% higher than a standard Hyatt redemption. So you may have heard of the legendary Bali High, but before this video, had you heard of the Bali High yet? No? This property was actually the first international luxury hotel on the island, opening way back in 1973 as the Bali Hyatt. At the time, and still now, the property was known for its incredible gardens, designed by the famed tropical landscape artist, the late Made Wijaya. In 2013, the resort closed for renovation, but not just any renovation, a 5-year renovation. That's absolutely unheard of in this industry, and surely had as much to do with injecting life back into this legend as it was preparing the site next door for the Andaz Bali. Let's take a look at where we are, and I can explain why perhaps I was a little bit hesitant to come here in the past. We are in Sanur, on the eastern shores of southern Bali, an easy 25 to 30 minute drive to the airport. This is the property itself. You can see that there are 3 structures over here. Those are actually one of the reasons why I never visited. It's a very dated hotel design, and I assumed that it would permeate through just about everything. I was very wrong. One unique thing about the layout is that all of the rooms are over there, and all of this area over here is just for enjoyment. Everything else. What does that mean? That means quiet, peaceful rooms which have beautiful gardens or ocean views in nearly all cases. The open-air reception space is the original design, well, the original structure, kept open in order to bring the gardens into the space, and let me tell you, it works. This is a fairly common design element for hotels in Southeast Asia these days, but there's a fine line between a thoughtfully designed and enriched space and a sterile, big-box, pseudo-heritage space. This space I obviously think is the former. To get an idea of what I mean by the latter, check out my Intercontinental Sanur video. Their space is actually very similar, and it's easy on the eyes. But nothing about it feels bespoke or particularly special. On the part of the property furthest from the rooms are a series of spaces and gardens which surely are used for a lot of weddings and events. Let me tell you why I love that it's over here though. First, they're so removed from the rooms that you're not going to have a DJ 12 feet from your balcony. Secondly, they're just, well, disguised. When not in use, they don't feel like empty, sterile spaces waiting to have cocktail tables set up. They just feel like a part of the resort's storied past. Let's go check out the pools, and let me note that the primary pool while I was here was closed for necessary maintenance. While it did make the other pools more crowded than ideal, this was clearly disclosed on Hyatt's website before I needed to actually book it, so no problems in that regard for me. At the end of this clip, I'll show you what it looks like now. You can still get an idea of what they were going for. It's a property filled to the brim with small, intimate spaces. There are very few vantage points, actually anywhere in the resort, that give you the feeling of, oh, this resort is huge. But at the same time, you could walk around for hours and not cross your own path. Just a quick FYI, if you're planning a trip to Bali, you've got to check out my Bali playlist, which currently has, I think, around 17 videos by the time this one publishes, from all over the island. By the middle of 2025, it should have closer to 25 videos. It's linked in the description. Behind these screens are the construction that I was mentioning. At least it's hidden as well as it could be. All of this is completely open now though, and here are some photos of the final product. And here's an overview just so you can see how the pools are sort of woven together. Now onto the beach. The beaches in Sanur generally have very shallow waters, and so the tides seem to be extreme at times. But for the most part, the beaches here do look very inviting. It was on autoplay. I was multitasking. I was feeding my tokai. These are all real reasons, sorta, why I often forget to click the like button on videos that I actually did enjoy. So anytime a content creator asks me to click the like button and subscribe, if I think it's warranted, I do it right in that moment, because otherwise, I promise, I'm gonna forget. Grassroots support is what keeps channels going, much more so than any algorithm ever could. So if you enjoyed this video today, be sure to click all the buttons, but just the good ones, please. If you'd like to support further, my Patreon is also linked in the description below. Thanks very much in advance. Another great feature that I forgot to mention in my other recent Sanur videos is the Boardwalk, which is newly paved and runs a full 6 kilometers up the coast. Great for a morning run or bike ride or just a walk after dinner. Okay, let's check out a couple of the daytime eateries. First up is the tastefully tiki'd out beachside bar, which serves up drinks and bites throughout the day. Just next to that is the Pizzeria, which was a phenomenal surprise. First of all, the setting cannot be beat. A beachside restaurant entirely in the shade during mealtimes is like my ultimate afternoon break. Things started off with a really nice tomato focaccia and then continued onto a torn burrata and parma pizza with pesto. Nearly perfect at a 9 out of 10. Okay, let's go visit my room. Before we go inside, I want to show you how well they've landscaped these buildings. You remember that they were 3 squares which are nearly connected, right? Well, the courtyards of these buildings are so lushly landscaped that you can barely see the other side of the same building. As far as the standard rooms go, as in not the suites, the lower your floor, the more premium your rooms are, as the exterior is sloped, so the lower floors actually have more space. For the regular rooms, there are 3 categories: standard, deluxe, and premium. I booked a standard room and was upgraded to a deluxe room at check-in. I was explorist at the time. Normally I wouldn't complain about this, but they gave me a Hollywood twin, or Hollywood king, whatever you want to call it, where they put 2 beds together and they call it a king. But they were double beds, and they didn't have linens that actually fit it. Plus, this was meant to be my first day off in over a week and a half, and I just wanted to be comfortable, so I asked to have a normal king. They didn't have any, so they upgraded me to a ground floor premium room, which is what you're going to see. Overall, I think the rooms are well done. They're pretty monochromatic with the color scheme, but the various textures and materials did break that up a bit. That said, the room just felt a little incomplete, and to this day, I don't really know why. It just felt like a house that had never been accessorized. It needed a bold pop of color on the pillows, or one piece of furniture with a different material, a stack of coffee table books. Like, it's not that far off, but it's just missing something. As we look around, I'll put up the extra bits. The minibar was slightly disappointing. Same as the Intercontinental, there's a French press on offer, but only finely ground coffee available. Not a good match. Someday, I swear to you, I'm gonna write a memoir, and I think the title's gonna be, "But they didn't have a coffee machine." Similar to how I said about the Andaz Bali with their welcome spread, coffee machines are just so absurdly cheap, and have such a huge impact for many, many guests. Tanah Merah. It's a great local Indonesian coffee brand. They sell capsules for Nespresso machines for 70 cents retail, so let's guess about half of that wholesale. Just saying. The bathroom was nicely finished and laid out with a large shower in the rear, a double vanity, and a full-size soaking tub. There were brand standard pharmacopoeia products on offer. In the entry area, there's a full-size closet. You may have been wondering where they were hiding the toilet. It's just up here next to the front door. Let's go check outside. Being on the ground floor, and these being the deepest rooms, there's a ton of space for lounging. For reference, here's the size of the deluxe room's living room and adjoining balcony. Okay, now we're gonna head to what I think is one of the highlights of the property, the Regency Club. I rarely pay for club access, and when I do have access, I rarely am too impressed with the space and what's on offer. There are exceptions, of course, but for the most part, paying extra has never been something I'd consider, except perhaps here. For this stay, I used a club certificate for access, but I'm talking about I would actually pay the cash rate to enter. The space itself is open air and massive. I think it's actually the largest venue on property. But it doesn't feel huge once you're inside. Everything is very well segmented, surrounded by ponds. It's open throughout the day for soft drinks and coffees, and serves up a small breakfast buffet in the mornings and nightly canapes and drinks in the evenings. I had to do some editing on my day off, and I found myself here for like 5 hours, which surprised the crap out of me, considering I never like to work in common spaces. But here was just so relaxed. It also didn't hurt that the service was fantastic. Let me talk about that service as we look around at the canapes on offer. Remember that this is through the lens of a $200 per night hotel, and the service is bar none as good as you'll ever get for that price. In the club, from the second time I entered, multiple people already knew my name, and were happy to chat away in a way that just felt really and surprisingly unscripted. In my travels, I don't come across many properties where you can tell that a majority of the guests at any given time are probably return guests. But I think this is one of those places where it might be true. I imagine many of them being globalist given the size of the club. Access, if you don't have it, is $85 plus per room, up to 2 people. Now, if you're globalist or perhaps explorist with a club certificate, we just brought that redemption rate that I talked about earlier into the 4 to 6 cents per night range, which is pretty incredible for a resort of this value. Service outside of the lounge was also very good, with callouts deserved for housekeeping and the front desk's check-in staff. Despite 2 mornings here, I wasn't able to catch a true sunrise, but it was just still nice and peaceful. First, let's head to breakfast at Omang Omang, their all-day restaurant. You can see the lunch and dinner menu here. The space is beautiful, appropriately sized, and has a full bar in one of the rooms. buffet had a diverse selection on offer, and the service was prompt with drink orders. In addition to an egg station, there were also stations for noodle soup, congee, and sweetbreads. The buffet overall is coming in at number 75, which may seem low, but I think it's a good showing for a Hyatt Regency, keeping in mind that I don't take price into consideration for these rankings. And if you're staying here, I would highly suggest popping over to the Andaz Bali for just one morning of breakfast. Now, of course you would need to pay, but it would be worth it as I think it's the best breakfast in Bali. You'll also have their great Fisherman's Club restaurant for dinner. And then we have the Club Lounge breakfast, which I'll let you have a look around. In addition to everything on offer, there was also an egg and noodle soup station. So the last place we're off to is the spa, and this explains why I actually booked this resort to begin with. So over the years, I've heard many good things about this property since it reopened. Everyone kinda lumps it in together with the Grand Hyatt in Nusa Dua. The Grand Hyatt usually also being a great value since the property is a bit older. So, knowing I was doing another Andaz Revisited video, I originally planned to just film a little bit here and include it in that Andaz video. When I got here though, and really saw how beautiful and frankly underrated this place is, that's when I knew I needed to make a separate video. If you're staying at the Andaz, these are the spa and fitness facilities that you would use as well. For reference, the spa here is like a 3-minute walk from the villa where I was staying at the Andaz. And if you notice the platform where the musicians play at the Regency Club, literally right behind there, totally out of view, is where the roadside pool villas are at the Andaz. So, as we walk around, let me wrap this up. I know this will sound absurd to some people, but one of the downsides of filming hotels is frankly always feeling the need to try something new. Of course it has its benefits too, but it's nice to be familiar with the resort as well. My point being, If I never filmed another resort in Bali ever again, for my money, every single time I came back, I'd come back to here, the Hyatt Regency. If someone else knows of another property on this island that is as lush, as updated, as spread out, and as intensely Balinese as this place is, for under $250, put it in the comments. If it's true, I'll visit. So, yeah, usually I don't speak in absolutes, but at the same time, this place is just the best value for a major branded beach resort on the island. Point blank. Just like the Andaz is the best breakfast on the island. They really are a great fit next to each other. I really do hope you enjoyed this resort tour today. If you did, please be sure to click the like button and subscribe with notifications on so you don't miss out on my twice weekly videos. I'll see you next time on the flight that actually brought me here, CityLink from Dili to Denpasar. Oh, and as always, thanks for watching until the end.